Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and installation video on a UForce 1000XL. It's a 2022 model. This is the 3-Star Industries two-piece vented windshield with the Velcro straps. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I can say is it looks like it's packaged pretty nicely. Two-piece box, slips in one. Already started cutting this side open a little bit. Go ahead and flip it over and get this other side cut. And then get it slipped apart. So definitely check for damage. You never know how it was handled in shipping. So far so good. Got some nice bubble wrap on it. Looks like there's some carrying instructions on there. Hardware here. So, yep. Be careful cutting this open because it'll scratch the windshield itself. It cuts through that film. Alright, so now I got all the bubble wrap off. You can see here it comes with cleaning instructions. Make sure you read those so that way you're not cleaning your scratching your brand new windshield. And then it also comes with this plastic pouch here for all the straps. It's very handy. So if you want to take that windshield off when you're out in the trails, you can go ahead and throw everything in that little pouch, put it in your glove box, and then keep on going. So we'll go ahead and start fitting this into the XL here in a second. I'm going to pull the instructions out of there just to make sure, and I know that there's brackets there for the bottom, and then they'll have the Velcro straps for the top. So, all right, so I got the tape off the little pouch here. Go ahead and open it up. Let's see what we got. Some instructions. Velcro straps. There's 4 of them in there. 2 little brackets. These hook on to the bottom side of your UForce. And then your bolts and washers for those bottom brackets there. So we'll go ahead and move all this stuff off to the side. Basically, just taking a quick look at the instructions. The bottom section obviously needs to go on first. So we're going to go ahead and flip this over. So here's the bottom piece of the windshield after we flipped it over. And we just need some cutters, cut these zip ties off. Alright, so here's your bottom portion of the windshield. As you can see, it's got a lip that kind of comes up. This is going to face out towards the front of the unit. And then on the back side, there's a nice piece of foam here. This foam sits right up here against this bottom piece. Here are your slots for the bolts to go through for the wing nuts to hold into place. And obviously the vents. So we're going to have to get this in here and just slightly bend it a little bit so that it goes back behind the hood and get it tucked in there. I may go and get a thin piece of weather stripping just to go on the back side of this to kind of seal it better. Not necessarily just to keep air from coming in, but keep it from rattling. So we'll just have to see how it does after we're done with the installation. So now that that portion's in there, I'll come over and I'll get my brackets. So here are the 2 brackets and the hardware to secure it into the lower part of the windshield. All right, so as you can see here, there's a hole right down here in the framing of the CFMoto. Our bracket is going to sit in there. Sorry, I know it's kind of hard with my hand in the way, but it sits in there, and it actually conforms very nicely to the roll bar right there. And once that's in place, we will be taking our bolt and this little plastic wing nut here, and make sure you put the bolt in through. That way it sits just like this. You can see the bolt head there. And then you're going to take your rubber washer, rubber side towards the Lexan. I'm going to loosely put this whole windshield on, and then I'll go ahead and remove all of these brackets and the Velcro and whatnot to pull the Lexan off. But I want to double check to make sure that everything fits the way that it's supposed to. So as you can see here, there's a bevel on this plastic piece, and there's a bevel up on the metal portion of the washer here. Those two have to be connected, and then the rubber side here will actually go through, or actually be placed onto the outside portion of the windshield, and then comes through and mounts into the bracket. So you just have to position that correctly. All right, so one problem it looks like I'm having right now is this portion of the bracket is bent a little bit too much, so it doesn't mount flush to the windshield here. I'm probably going to end up bending it up just a little bit to make sure that it sits correctly on the windshield, because I don't want to tighten it too much to where it's not sitting flush on the windshield, and then it ends up breaking the windshield. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. All right, let's see if that did it. And that is definitely much closer, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. All I did was I took the bracket, and it was at a perfect 90-degree angle right off of here. I put it in my vise, and I just bent up on it a little bit to give it a little bit of angle. So I'm going to go ahead, get that back in there. Much closer now, much better fitment it looks like. And it looks like I can actually get the nut and washer on now. So they give you a lock nut and a washer as well. Looks like this side here with the handbrake in the way is a little tighter to get to. So I'll go ahead and get this on. There we go. So now that's nice and secure. Looks like when I go ahead and tighten that up, it's going to be very tight up there against the framing. We're probably not going to have any issues with rubbing, but I still may put a little bit of weather stripping up here, especially at the top. So we'll go ahead and move to the next side. All right, so this might actually be a little bit better view than the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and take this bracket here, and I'm going to see how it fits up against the windshield. And we have the same problem where the bracket doesn't fit up to it very nicely. So I'm going to end up taking this bracket to the vise and doing the same thing I did to the other side. Basically just taking this from a perfect 90-degree angle and bending it up a little bit. All right, so I just bent that very little. So let's see how it fits. All right, looks like it lines up pretty good. So I'll go ahead and get my bolt and the wing nut, get that set in there again. And again, here's my washer with the metal side up top, and get that put in. It's pretty tight, so you're gonna have to thread it in there. All right, so now that that's in there, you can see that this metal washer is facing up towards the plastic wing nut. The rubber side is down. This is the part that's going to be touching the Lexan, and my bolt head is through this plastic wing nut here. Once you get this washer tight on the threads, you don't have to worry about the bolt coming back up through the top. So now that that's lined up there, I can go ahead and I can get my bolt set in, and then get my washer and my lock nut. So pretty nice little lock nut here, and the washer. And then just get that on like so. I'm not going to crank it down all the way because, like I said before, I'm going to get everything mocked up on here, make sure it fits correctly, and then I'm going to pull it back off to pull all the paper or plastic wrap off of the Lexan. So now that the bottom portion's in, all right, looks like it fits pretty nicely. Contours very well. Doesn't seem like there's any stress on it at all. Seems like the brackets are actually really strong too. So we will have to go in after we get the plastic off and tighten these wing nuts and the nuts on the other side. Not a big deal. So let's go ahead and get the top portion set into place, and we can get our Velcro out and kind of see how that goes. All right, so here's our top portion of the windshield. As you can see, the bottom part that meets here to the lower portion of the windshield is kicked out a little bit, and also the top is kicked out a little bit as well. And it looks like this top piece is going to mount pretty nicely to the upper bevel on the roll cage there. So if we were to lay this into place, kind of see how it sits in here. All right, so it looks like it's pretty nice fit in here as well. Like I said before, on the lower one, I may get another piece of weather stripping just to put up against the roll cage. That way it doesn't rattle. Especially with this just being Velcro straps, I don't necessarily know how tight I'm going to be able to get them, but we'll see how it is after we're done with the installation. So as you can see here, the windshield, once we go ahead and get it strapped down, it looks like it's actually going to fit pretty nicely, and that rubber weather stripping will sit on there pretty good. So we'll go ahead and get that done in a minute. And then also up here at the top, it looks like it fits very nicely, nice and tight. Also looks like it fits very tight into the channel on the roll cage here. Let's check the other side, see how that is. Yep, so not too bad. The top looks like maybe it has an 1/8 inch of play either side, so I can move it back and forth, but not the end of the world. This top portion goes right up underneath the roof, which is great. I actually like that a lot. One of the things I saw with the flip-up windshield from another company was that there was a gap here. And one of the things that I had read, and one of the reasons I didn't go with that windshield, was because if it's raining, you don't necessarily have to worry about water dripping off of the roof, but you got to worry about water coming in through that top part. And even that little gap, you can get wet, which I know having an open cab, you're going to get wet anyways, but there's a difference between it kind of coming in on the side and coming in through the front when you're doing 40 miles an hour and getting hit in the face with it. So that's kind of what I wanted to prevent. And I do like how this tucks up underneath there, just for that reason, so that you don't have to worry about water and dirt and whatnot coming in through the front when you're running down the road or running down the trail. Let's go ahead and get those Velcro straps on, get it nice and tight, and then we'll kind of see how it is from there. And then I'll pull it all back apart, take the film off, and we'll see how it looks all finished. All right, so here's our Velcro strap. Obviously, very simple design, very quick and easy to get the windshield on and off. Basically, you're just gonna wrap this around through this hole in the roll bar. This plastic piece is going to be up here in this area, and then you just go ahead and you tighten it down. So slip it through like this. Right now I have this as close to the windshield and this channel as I possibly can, and just pull it down, get it nice and tight, and there you go. So you take a look, the plastic piece that you wrap it through is right here on the roll bar. It looks like it's very secure, actually, even just having this one done. Wraps up underneath and through. So I like it. I think this is going to work out very well for myself and my family, and be nice and easy to go on and off. So I'll go ahead and I'll just mock up the other 3 on there just to see how everything fits. And when I get done with that, I'll pull it back apart, take all the film off of the windshield, and show you how everything is. All right, so here it is with everything secure. The bottom bolts aren't all the way tight yet, just because I didn't want to run through all that nylon yet. But the top of the Velcro is in all the way. One thing I did notice is you will have to use 2 hands. You can't just kind of cinch it down. So you have to basically hold the plastic piece in place and then pull the Velcro down, which is fine. Not that big of a deal. They do also make this windshield where it has wing nuts like this on the upper portion too. I'm really curious if that has nylon nuts in it also, or if the bracket that holds it into place has a welded nut on it where you can easily remove that from the framing of the windshield. So if you don't like the Velcro but you kind of like the windshield, that is an option as well. They also make the same windshield without vents in it, so you can get that too. All right, so now that I have this on and mocked up, I'm gonna go ahead and pull everything back off, pull the film off. I'll just go ahead and do the corners of all of it. That way I can kind of secure it back in there, and then I'll pull the rest of it off. So yeah, and then once we're all done with that, I can go ahead and show you the finished product. All right, so you can see all I did here was just flip down the plastic on the inside, and I'll go ahead and I'll set this back into this channel between the hood and the dashboard, like so. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and remove a little bit of the plastic also from the outside, like that. And I'll take my wing nut and washer with the bolt and my washer and nut and go ahead and get that in. So one thing about this setup right here that I noticed that I think could be improved on is that they do give you this wing nut with the bolt and all that. This side is fantastic. But when you come over to this side, when you have your nylon nut in your washer back here, it's great, but it would be really nice if the nut was welded to the bracket, or if it was a nut with a washer built into it. That way you didn't have to handle 2 pieces. The other part of having the nut welded to the bracket, which would be really nice, is that you could remove this on the trail without any tools. So for some reason, if you wanted to take this lower piece off, I don't know why you would necessarily out on the trails, but it would be nice and easy to be able to get it off. Or if you wanted to take it off to be able to service something, like remove the dash or do a deep cleaning or something like that, it would be really nice to have it to where you didn't have to remove a nylock nut in order to do that. So that may be something in the future. Maybe I just take this bracket and I weld a nut to it to make it a little bit easier for myself. But one recommendation I would give to the manufacturer is that. So, and then also making sure that these brackets are bent correctly so that they fit the contour of the windshield, so you don't have to bend it when you get it out of the box. Now the lower portion is halfway secured in here, so I'm going to go ahead and just make sure everything's lined up. Get a wrench on the back side of it, go ahead and tighten it. So the nuts on the back side here are 7/16. What I did on the other side was basically just tighten it up enough to where the threads on the bolts are coming through the nylon on the nut. That seems to be fine. It's not crazy tight to the point where I'd be worried about breaking it, but it is tight enough to where nothing moves, as you can see here. So now that this windshield is on, I'm going to go ahead and just remove the rest of the plastic. There's that inner part. And here's the outer. So doesn't look like it's scratched up at all. Look like it's pretty good. I'm really curious to see how these slide over and what kind of holds that in place there. All right, so here's the upper windshield again. I didn't notice this before with the wrap on it, but it actually does have some weather stripping up here at the top, and also on both sides there's weather stripping, so that's pretty nice that they put that on the windshield as well. So I'll go ahead and get this thrown up in here. So like I said, this top piece here just goes underneath the roof a little bit, and then you can set it right on the lower portion of the windshield, and it'll stay there for you while you go ahead and get your Velcro straps on. Now, I'm not going to tighten the Velcro straps up all the way just yet, because I'm going to have to take some of this film off, but I figured for this first installation I might as well leave all the film on there. So just like before when I was mocking it up, the Velcro strap in. Make sure it's nice and tucked up on the top. Hold your plastic. Tighten it on there. So extremely simple. They're accurate in saying that these are quick. So here it is, all complete. I got to clean the windshield in there in the center. Hopefully there's not any light scratches or anything already. But so like I said, I was going to show you when I got it all put together and the Lexan off and everything. It's very nice, looks very clear. I didn't get the tinted. One thing that you always worry about when you're putting a windshield on like this is that there's going to be some kind of reflection while you're driving down the road or something like that. But I think it's going to be okay. These are tight now. It was a 7/16 nut on the back side, so that nylon nut is a 7/16. I tighten them up to the point where the threads are just going through the nylon on the lock nut. They still can be moved around a little bit, but I'm not going to crank them down. I don't really think there's need to. It's nice and secure on here. It's tight. It's not going anywhere. The upper portion with these Velcro straps seems like it's very secure. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that rattling at all. Again, like I said, they put weather stripping here on the inside where it meets up to your roll cage on both sides and the top. That looks like it's going to help out a lot. I really do like how the windshield cuts up underneath the roof here. I think it's just a little bit more secure that way. And that was one thing I was worried about, is just driving down the road like this, knocking around or something like that. But the fact that it cuts up underneath here, I think it adds a little bit more structural rigidity to it, and it allows it to just be a little bit more stable while you're driving. So last thing I want to talk about is these vents. Now that the windshield is on and secure, they are really nice. They don't rattle at all. They're actually pretty tight up against the window. I think it would be very nice if there was some kind of wing nut on the bottom here, so that way while you're inside the unit you can maybe loosen them up a little bit, slide them to where you want them, and then tighten them back up. The way they're set up right now, you really need two hands to be able to move them. I mean, they're extremely tight. But that's our full closed right there, and that's full open right there. So I'm sure over time these will loosen up a little bit, whatever little washers or whatever they have set inside of here will loosen up a little bit. So I'm not too worried about it. There are some little scuffs on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that cleaned up too. But all in all, I think it came out very well. I'm very happy with the fact that it sits inside of this channel. I know, you know, with the way the UForce is made and having this in here, most of the windshields, if not all of them, are gonna have the are gonna be cut out so they fit in here. I was kind of worried about these Velcro straps and just how secure they're gonna be, but honestly, I like them a lot. And like I said before at the beginning of this video, there's not a lot of installation videos on this windshield or even a lot of information about it, but I would be very curious to see how the other style windshield that has these wing nuts on it to hold the top piece in, how the bracket is set up in the bottom. Because if you have to put your washer and nut on also for the top, that's kind of a pain in the butt. And I mean, I think, again, like I said before, it would be very nice if the nut was welded to the bracket and you could easily go through and remove this and put it back on. All in all, I think the windshield is fantastic, and I really can't wait to get out there and go ride it. It's about 22 degrees outside right now, so this will definitely help to keep the cold wind off my face. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.